So where did we leave off? Where did we start last week? So you were underground in the cellar of Diego Espinar's building.
Yeah.
And you had just been locked in the cellar. And so what happened immediately after that is Diego lit a fire above the cellar, and then he basically fled the scene. You guys managed to bust open the cellar door after a lot of attempts, by which point the fire had spread quite severely, and you managed to get your way through the fire. I think Tom caught on fire. Wade caught on fire a bit.
Oh, yes.
You then made your way, following Diego, to the docks. You went to his, because you know his docking number, so you went straight to his boat, and he was just about to leave, but who was it? Kurak, I think, leapt onto the boat, followed by some others. Wade harpooned the boat and pulled it. Oh no, was that Morglath?
No, that was Wade.
Oh, it's Wade. Yeah, Wade harpooned the boat and pulled it into the dock. And
No, sounds strong.
Diego was caught and captured after a bit of a fight. He put up quite a fight, but in the end he was overwhelmed.
Well, he just got stabbed a million times, and that was about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't do much. I just harpooned a boat.
You took Diego to the barracks, and you interrogated him, and found that Diego had entered into a deal with a witch that lived on Eel Island, and that this witch had made him do terrible things, horrible things, and one of the things that he had to do for this witch was bring peaches to the island, and then some months later he transported a body, which he deduced was Peach's body, back to the scene of the crime. You are it was evening now, and you're settling down for a night at the barracks. Wade just went to have an interesting meeting with what's his name?
Brian Orion.
Brian Orion. Yeah, I got there. Which he's just returning from now, so I'm sure he'll tell the party all about it.
Yes, I remember it vividly.
So, without further ado,
Oh, how I missed this.
D&Tea.
That was playing really weirdly for me. It was like one track, and then a millisecond afterwards it was playing the same song. So it was like
Really?
a weird. That really messed my head up.
Right.
So where have you been? What's your name again? Wade.
I was talking to my superior officer, Sir Brian Orion, great man. I was originally asking him about Eel Island, and I persuaded him we've got 24 hours to stake the place out, which is not enough time, I guess, but still, if we can find something in that short amount of time, I'm sure it will convince him for further investigations. And the other thing regarding the ominous evil power lurking within Peach's body. He said he'd deal with that. But
Okay. Go
well,
on.
he's not. I don't really like him.
Can he
I'm not
be
sure if I trust
trusted?
him.
Oh.
I don't know.
Um.
I expect, even though I dislike him, he does uphold the law. I believe.
Okay.
But obviously, I think it might be worth checking the body at a later occasion to see if that evil force that I detected with my divine something or other is still there. My divine sense.
Okay. What time is it?
It's evening. It's going quite late now.
When do our 24 hours begin?
Tomorrow morning. We just have a day, basically. Let's have a nice long sleep. So, and regain our hit points and spells.
What are hit dice? Sorry.
Hit dice are, if you have a short rest, you can roll one of your hit dice and
Oh,
regain
yeah.
that many hit points.
So do we regain those after a long rest?
Yeah, you regain all your hit dice.
Okay. Could we have a long rest, please?
So you settle down for the night in the barracks. It's quite simple accommodation, just plain bunks. You're in with many of the soldiers who look gruff and tired and sort of iron you up, but no one's sort of brave enough to come over and say anything.
Iron you up.
Apart from Wade, obviously. They know Wade, and many of them greet and stand up and say hello to Captain de Bloodcurrant.
Well, I'm a captain.
Well, Investigator de Bloodcurrant. But yeah, eventually you drift off to sleep.
I don't know if I want to go to sleep with these people eyeing me up. Sounds a bit saucy.
Well, it's up to you.
No, I'm asleep.
When you awake after a long rest, which is thankfully quiet, nobody has any nightmares. I'm thinking of Kurak specifically.
How convenient.
You've been awfully quiet, Kurek. It's almost as if you're somewhere else.
I'm having a pensive moment. So there is a faint glimmer of light as the sun rises on the 5th day of your investigations. And there is the sound of wind howling from outside of the barracks and rain pattering down. There seems to be the storm that's been threatening for many days seems to finally be here.
Great day for sailing.
Yes. Does anyone have a boat?
No.
We must talk to some of these chaps on the dock. It's police business. Is there a police boat? I should know this kind of thing.
But you can head down to the docks. If you look on the map, the barracks is not exactly next to the seafront.
Oh. So
Are there
we
any
walk down that way.
Wade, are there any rations we can take from the barracks for our little adventure?
You have to be a officer of the law to take the the rations. I will take my fair share. 90 rations.
you're in charge of supplying your own rations.
Okay. Does anyone need any rations? Oh no, what does that mean that I can't just get them from Paris?
No. Well, there might be like a couple of packs.
Can I collect my wages from the barracks?
I think we agreed that you had just been paid when we started, so
How am I going to pay for a boat?
you get paid tomorrow.
Okay.
Perhaps we could borrow a boat.
Excellent. We could take Diego's own boat. It's
It's got a harpoon in it.
The hull has been breached.
It's not going anywhere. As long as it's made of wood, it still floats. I can mend it with some of my rope.
Should we just go there?
So screamy.
Ugh.
Should we just go there and see what we can find?
Yes. I also have a water skin, whatever that is, but it sounds watertight.
It's
It holds water.
Flask of water, it's made out of leather.
Well, that could clog the hole.
Not for sailing then.
No.
Let's head down to the docks and see what's about.
Okay, so yeah, you venture out into the rain. There's only a glimmer of sun flickering through the rolling storm clouds, and so Taveron, you're not in direct sunlight, so you don't suffer your penalties.
That's good news.
As you approach the dock, there are many people, fishermen, sailors, and travellers taking shelter in the salty dog, standing under the covers just in front of the front of the pub. But outside that, there doesn't seem to be many boats sailing today.
Maybe we should ask an experienced seaman to take us across.
Excellent plan. We have the maps, and all we need is a large, portly seaman. We just need a few seamen, a team. We need lots of seamen.
Stop saying seaman?
Getting excited, are we, Tevron?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
we approach the nearest seaman.
Okay. So there's make a perception check. Well, actually, I guess it would be investigation.
Investigation. Does anyone look like Captain Birdseye?
I got 22.
Taveron, you notice a couple. One of which, the older gentleman with a big white, bushy beard, has a sleeve exposed, and you see an anchor tattooed on it. This is definitely a seafaring chap. And he's standing next to a younger fellow with dark, flowing hair, handsome, sort of tanned skin.
Hello.
Ooh, all right there. What can I do for you?
We're looking to borrow a boat.
Borrow a boat, you say? Aye. You want to go out in this weather, do you? Here is
Just
that
for a
lover's
few
umbrella.
Just for a few days.
Well, I could take you out, but it'll cost you.
What's the usual rate?
How much you got?
This is a police matter.
Make a persuasion check, Taveron.
13.
Oh, a police matter, is it? Well, let me just drop everything, shall I, and just sail away for free? No, I think I'll be wanting some payment, police matter or not. you have to be foolhardy to go out in waters in a storm like this. It just so happens that I am foolhardy.
Wait, wasn't it your payday?
I could give you a fine silver piece, young sailor man.
Young, well, flattery's not going to get you anywhere. And a silver piece ain't going to cut it, I'm afraid.
Name your price.
5 gold pieces.
Oh, look here, there's a handful of seamen around here that we could speak to. Boo.
We may get some more quotes.
The younger chap pipes up and says, "Well, sorry to undercut you, George, but I'll do it for 3 gold pieces if you like."
Now we're talking. Can you match that? Bearded sailor fellow, I can't remember your name.
George.
Captain Birdseye.
No, I can't match that. But I'll just say that you get what you pay for. I've got a few years seafaring experience on this whippersnapper.
Are the seas rough today?
He sort of glances over your shoulder at the edge of the docks where the swell of the storm is rising and ebbing, and there's froth of crashing waves billowing onto the street and almost up to the pub front itself. I'd say so.
Judging on the conditions, chaps, I'm being blasted with spittle from the sea already.
It does look a little frothy.
We've only got 1 day, boys. We've got to get over there.
George, and sorry, good-looking sailor man, I don't seem to have caught your name.
Name's Humberto.
Humberto.
George.
Fine sailor name.
Humberto. I don't suppose either of you have any experience with the Isle of Eels.
At this, both of their eyes go wide. Is that where you want to go? I might have to revise my price.
No, the price is what you suggested. I asked you to sail the boat for a price.
And please answer the question.
One patch of sea is no different to another. Is it not?
I've been there. I've been to the Isle of Eels. It's difficult. And I wouldn't risk my own boat, my livelihood, on such a foolhardy journey for a mere 5 gold pieces.
What makes the Isle of Eel so tricky?
Well, first off, it's surrounded by a reef, jagged rocks. You have to navigate between a narrow passage to get to the island. And on a day like today, with the storm swell, that is challenge enough in and of itself. But there's something else about that island. The tides there are unpredictable. Swells form, whirlpools open up in front of you. It's as if the very waters have a mind of themselves.
It's your lucky day then, as we have a map to the island of Eels.
He sort of gestures to have a look at it.
Just before you do have a look at it, George. Mbongo, you've been very quiet.
Have you not sailed those seas?
I've been close by, but I've never been to the Island of Eels. I've heard bad things about it.
Let's not speak to the cabin boy anymore. It's all about George Birdseye.
He's a bit of a fish out of water.
Good one, Wade.
So, 15 gold then for my passage and services, and for
We don't want your...
and for the use of my boat.
Well, we actually do have a small vessel that harpooned out on one of the jetties that we could use if you could lower your price and if you're willing to sail that. A chap was going to the Isle of Eels in it just the other day, actually, before it was confiscated by the police.
Small is good. Small is good. Very well. We'll take your boat, and I'll stick to my original price. 5 gold pieces.
Where's 5 silver pieces? 5 gold?
It was 5 gold pieces.
Fuck it.
Thank you, Creamy, for standing up there.
Should we all pay him 1 gold piece each?
Yeah, there's 5 of us, isn't it?
Okay, I'll knock it off. Correct and creamy. Creamy's not got a lot of gold left.
None of us have.
Kurak does.
How much has Kurak got?
He's got like 12 gold pieces.
What? I've got,
So have I, but I'm not paying.
I've got 2.
You just got paid.
Yeah,
Next tomorrow.
He only gets 5 silver pieces a week.
Okay, so you agree your price and hand over the gold, and George takes your hand firmly, shakes it, and says, "Ah, a good deal. And now we ride foolhardy to Eel Island. Show me this vessel of yours."
Very well. Follow us.
Probably at the bottom of the sea by now.
If I remember rightly, it was right on the top that because it was a really high roll, that harpooning. So I think it went just through the top, like far from the breaching the hull. It's like
Yes,
well
I
above
remember.
the water.
Excellent.
You might still need to patch it up for this stormy weather, though. So you lead George over to the mooring where Diego's boat is still there, harpooned to the dock. It's covered in blood.
Sheep's blood.
What on earth happened here?
Well, there was a slight what can we call it?
A problem with a fish hook.
Yes, a fishhook issue that was resolved, and that blood is no longer a problem.
Well, I won't ask any questions.
Good, because I don't have any answers.
Giganto, would you mind removing this harpoon?
Yeah. Go on then. So, strength check.
Yeah.
Have we got something else to plug the hole with?
I'm hoping that it's above sea level.
We might need to bung something in there. Has anyone got anything waterproof? Bit of wood?
Can we use Creamy's finger?
What about if we saw off the shaft of the javelin harpoon thing?
I must admit, I've put my finger in a lot of holes.
Right, here we go. You're about to see something very impressive.
You do it with one hand.
Oh, is
It
that
comes
strength?
clean out.
That a strength save though?
Oh, that's a
shit.
strength save, yeah. But you want a athletics check.
Oh shit.
Please be 1.
Oh, I got +5 on that as well. On athletics. But I'll roll anyway for the sake of
You go to do it with one hand, but it's actually wedged in quite firmly. But with a couple of hands and a couple of goes, you pull it out. You're not sure how impressive it looks, but you did the job.
Well done, Gigantor. How strong you are.
I might keep this javelin for later. Wade, would you mind storing it up your arsehole, please?
Oh, the only passage that's being ridden is this sailor's passage to the Island of Eels.
Well then, what are we going to do about this hole?
I'll stick
I
this
suggested
harpoon
putting
back
it-
in there.
We can plug it with the shaft of the harpoon.
That probably would work. You saw off a bit of it.
I can slice it with my blade. Blade to blood current.
Okay, well, if you you saw
Made
off
of
the end
metal.
of the harpoon, it's still a functioning harpoon, and you wrap the. Have you, either of you got a bit of loose cloth?
A blanket.
Yeah, that'll do. The bit of the blanket, you wrap it in that, and you can bung it in pretty well. Like, so it's basically bunged up the hole. It's not perfect, but it will certainly do. Well then, get in, let's be going, before the storm gets any worse. You pile into the small vessel and set out, leaving Portmerin Harbour and going into the out towards the sea. The waves, the swell of the waves rises and falls, and those of you that haven't spent a lot of time on the sea, soon feeling quite queasy. The winds are howling, however, and you make good speed with the sailing, heading towards Eel Island.
Can I investigate the boat, seeing as I don't think I've been on it before?
Yeah. Yeah, make an investigation check.
22.
So there's not a lot more to see than you had already observed. There is a secret compartment that's or you had already discovered earlier. You'd watched from the side, but it's still lying on the side of within the hull of the boat. The hull itself is covered in blood from the struggle with Diego. There's some scratches on the inner surface of the hull where Diego was pinned down by Kurak's scimitar. Katana. Apart from that, not much to say about the boat, really. Apart from it's seen better days.
Not much to say really about this boat, guys. Seen better days though.
Very interesting. Tavern.
It takes well over an hour of this bobbing up and down on these rolling storm waves until on the horizon you see this black spire rising from the horizon. There, yonder, Eel Island.
It's got a building on it. I did not know this. I thought it was just caves.
Nay.
Who brought the horse along?
That's a very good horse impression.
It is a cliff. Most of the island rises high above the sea. Steep black cliffs, treacherous, sharp volcanic rock.
Do you know if the island's ever erupted?
I think it's long been dormant.
I can't remember if we've asked you this, but why do you know so much about Eel Island?
Like I said, I visited once. What I know mostly is from stories, hearsay, and ghost stories about the island. But I did go in my youth. When I was working for less savoury means, it is a safe place to stash stolen booty.
You're a criminal. You're
Once
under
upon
arrest.
a time, a different life.
Oh. I don't arrest the people for historic crimes unless there is strong evidence. A personal confession would do it. If you'd care to write one down for me.
He sort of grins, a mostly toothless grin. He's got a couple of jaunty angled and poorly kept gnashes. We'll be there soon enough, and you can see why I haven't been back in a long time.
Would you like us to recover your booty for you, Captain Bowtie?
Well, I believe that I did leave something stashed there. Once upon a time, there was a fishing hut on the south coast. I believe that might still be some bits of treasure, odds and ends, stashed there, but I shan't be going to recover them.
Was that fishing
You know
hut on the
what?
what? South
Coast.
coast.
You're welcome to try.
Excellent.
Where are we heading in Eel Island? It's to a cave, isn't it?
Drop us off at the south coast.
We'll land at the north. It's the safest passage.
There are multiple passages?
There are many weaving passages through there are many weaving passages.
Is it
through the
safest to enter the largest passage?
Which is your favourite passage, Captain Bowtie?
A seasoned sailor like yourself must have tried many a passage.
Silence! We're approaching the reef. Everyone keep their wits about them and watch out, port and starboard, in case I get too close to the rocks. Right, I need everyone to make a survival check.
I've got -1 on that. 19 critical.
Oh, that's good. 20.
Oh yeah, shit.
I'm brilliant at sailing.
I'll do it for Kurak and Creamy.
I think Dave's just joined actually.
I have.
Yeah.
I'm just signing in.
You're just on. You've met a captain called George, and he's taking you to Eel Island, and you're just approaching the reef.
Excellent.
We'll get excellent rolls.
Creamy, do you want me to roll for you while you're signing in?
Yeah. Roll for me now. Yeah, roll for me.
So, between the 5 of you, you make a really good effort at steering through this treacherous reef, and there are a couple of times where the swell of the storm water lurches the ship towards where you can see jagged rocks poking.
This sounds
out
awful.
Hello. Yeah, so there's a couple of times where you can see after like a storm swell, the boat lurches towards some jagged rocks. But between the five of you managed to communicate with George, who rights the boat quickly, and you actually make fairly swift and effortless passage through the treacherous reef. As you eventually, after perhaps half an hour of this sort of skin of your teeth sailing, you make it into open water, the other side of the reef, and are now approaching what you can see huge black cliffs sheltering a secluded cove. As the boat edges towards the island, Jorge suddenly makes a swift... Jorge? What am I saying? George makes suddenly a...
Jorge.
I was going to go with Jorge, because Jorge is the Spanish for George, but I decided to go for George in the end. George makes a swift turn of the boat, and it suddenly lurches sharply to the left, and he points to the right. There! What did I tell you? And you witness, just in front where the boat would have been, the waters begin to swell together into a spiral, and a whirlpool forms just briefly and then flickers out of existence. These waters have a mind of their own.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hiya.
Oh.
So, Joe, you're on a boat to Eel Island, and you're just arriving. You've managed to sweet talk this captain who's guiding you over on Diego's old boat.
Oh, okay.
So, George brings the boat into a secluded cove with where cliffs line either side, rising 60 meters at least above your heads, and casting shade across this black sands beach. The first thing you noticed about this beach is that it is littered with dead and rotting fish. Every single everywhere where the waves meet the black sand, seemingly on every tide, washing countless numbers of these fish corpses in various states of decay. The smell of the place is quite something.
Creamy, close your legs.
Hey, let's.
So George pulls the boat on, runs the boat basically aground onto the black sand. It's fairly soft. Hops out into the breaking waves and pulls the boat up onto the sand. Well, lads and ladies, this is where I will leave you. I won't be venturing any further than this. There's a path up to the top of the cliffs, etched into the side of the rock. Follow the stairs up, and then there's a track that leads deeper into the island.
Thank you, George, for letting us all travel safely across and through your passage.
Are you gonna stay here and wait with the boat?
I'll wait for your return.
What is
Kramer's main dialogue in this episode is going to be coughing.
So as you hop off the boat, you sort of have to wade through these rotting dead fish.
Wade.
Read the fish guts.
Yeah. This doesn't seem like a normal occurrence. This is something very wrong about this.
This isn't the Costa del Sol, is it, lads?
I don't even know what that is.
It's a place that does not exist in this world. but I dream of such a place. White sandy beaches.
Is that all? Your dreams aren't stretching that far.
They may not be as vivid and as nightmarish as your dreams, but they are dreams nonetheless.
That is true. Very true.
Are you alright, Creamy? Oh, God. The fish don't smell that bad.
No. So why I'm just having a coughing fit, just as
Oh.
I'm literally joining a thing where I just need to talk.
Well, it smells bad, so it goes with the part.
True, it does smell repugnant.
Maybe we should all be coughing.
Should I do my divine sense again?
Yes.
See if there's something fishy going on.
Aha!
Oh.
I don't get it.
You don't sense. So you get the sense that yeah, there's some evil at work here. There's something that is not natural about this island and this beach of dead fish. But it's hard to focus on, and you don't get any clear signals from your divine sense.
I'm getting no clear signals of evil. It's just a bad place to be a fish.
How big is this island?
It's quite big. It's miles across,
Right.
but probably not like tens of miles. Maybe like 4 or 5 miles wide or something like that.
Shall we start following the path then, or shall we go off the beaten track?
Well, apparently this woman lives in the caves. The witch.
And do we know what part of the island that's on?
No.
Oh.
Is it not marked
just
on the
go.
map? The caves. Or...
Is the island even on the map? Oh, the made-up map.
Oh yeah, we've just got a map to the Isles. We got
Yeah, you don't have a
Here
map
goes
of the island itself.
journal. Does he mention the directions in the journal?
Make a investigation check.
All of us, or just Wade?
I'll just have a skim read of this.
Yeah,
Crikey.
there is some brief discussion about from the northern cove, travel south to the cottage. And it just says it says that the cavern is to the west.
Okay. We must head to the cottages first, and then head west.
Where are the cottages?
Along the path, presumably. I don't know.
Were you listening? I just said head south to the cottages.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that'd be along the path, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But you know that we're in the northmost. We're at the north of the island. So the entire island is south.
So technically, the cottages are still south.
Hmm.
Don't know if it's
Can-
southeast, southwest, or just true south, but
Can we see the cottages?
No, because you're standing on the beach, and all you can see is these cliffs in front of you.
okay. Let's start following the path. Let's go for it.
Tavron, as you start to move away from the shoreline, you notice just out of the corner of your eye, one of the fish's tails flickers, But that's impossible, because you saw that fish just a moment ago and it was half rotted.
Keen eye.
Looks like a ration to me.
Tavron?
Tevron, did I just notice you spotting something?
Please, Tavron. Come
Kurak also spotted it.
guys, I just saw one of the fish just come back to life.
Well, enough about that. Tavron's dead.
Well, maybe his essence gone into the fish. Should we take the fish with us?
Show us this fish.
Okay, I'll go and pick up the fish. Tavron,
Okay.
Tavron, are you in there?
He'll be back.
Okay, can I investigate this fish to see if it's got any
Yep.
Perceive? Investigate?
Perception, yeah.
Well, I know it's a fish, and it's a
So you pick
20.
it up.
Sorry, I was on the phone. I could still hear everything.
Okay. So you pick up this fish, and it's the head is mostly intact, but the eyes are sort of sunken into the skull. The body has most of the flesh is removed from the body. The tail and fins are still intact, but most of it's just herringbone, with bits of like thin muscle still holding and sinew holding the thing together. It looks completely dead, and you're just about to toss it away when suddenly it springs to life and starts wriggling in your hand, and its head looks you through these like sunken pits of eyes. It looks you dead in the eye, and its mouth moves, and it says, "Leave this place."
Like
And
jabbing.
suddenly there's this noise from all around you as every
Stop it,
single
George.
fish on the beach starts beating and flapping and moving, and all of their heads and jaws are twitching and saying in unison, "Leave this place." And then just as quickly as it started, they fall stiff and still and dead once again.
Right, let's carry on then.
Well, that's not a bad omen. Let's go for it.
There's something very... No, I'm not going to say it. Very evil going on around here. And
To
we
be honest,
must...
I can't really tell the difference between the dead fish on the floor and the rations I've got. I think they're better than my rations.
This is more than just a murder. This is bigger than peaches.
Poachers.
No!
Sorry, I stole your line.
So you ascend up these rough-hewn steps that steeply track the side of the cliff, and emerge onto what is effectively a plateau above the rolling, which gives you a good view of the rolling storm waves crashing into the black cliffs of the island. You're standing in a semi-wooded area, but the trees look all warped and windswept. It almost looks as if like one tree is skeletal branches are trying to strangle its neighbour. Everything is intertwined and covered in moss, damp and decrepit.
I might buy some land on this island and open up a resort.
I was going to say, open up a new vineyard.
Yes, it looks like fine growing conditions. To eel current wine.
Oh, the map change.
Well, keep heading south.
Yeah.
Ooh, new map.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting. Or should we
Okay.
follow the coastline?
don't know what all the fuss was about this island. It's actually very picturesque.
Nice and green.
So there is a muddy trail heading roughly south. It seems to be skirting around some jagged hills that rise gradually on your right.
Yep, follow the path.
I'm glad this isn't a true path, because I don't like steps.
What?
Or if it went straight, we'd have to go up the hill, wouldn't we?
No.
Shut
Okay.
up, blood current.
So you begin
I
to
was just
descend.
making light of the conversation. That long journey.
You begin to descend into some kind of valley, or what basically is effectively a bowl between hills to your left and right. And the land here gets marshier. You're sort of wading through. The path sort of skirts around a deep bog, but even so, you're up to your nearly the top of your boots in this muddy black water. And as your boots leave the squelching mud and your footprints fill with water, you occasionally catch a glimpse of a black, sinuous shape moving into the puddles that you leave behind. Seems Eel Island is living up to its name. Eventually, you meet a crossroads in a tangled forest of birch trees. Again, these trees are all growing together, tangled and windswept, and everything is covered in this thick moss that sort of flaps in the wind like tattered flags.
What did that journal say about crossroads?
Don't remember it mentioning crossroads, other than head to the cottages, then head west. Is it west? I can't remember.
It was, yeah.
Well, if it's west, we wouldn't want to head east now, I don't think. So
Yes.
presumably we'll just keep going down.
Let's completely ignore this path that we'll never need to use.
Plus that treasure's south as well. Just saying. Hey!
You
Cottages.
begin to ascend a small rise, and as you do, you notice just a slight puff, wisp of smoke ascending, and as you come over the rise, coming into view is this a humble sort of ragtag cottage.
Somebody's inside.
Let's pillage this cottage.
Now let's just have a moment here to think about what kind of terrible people would inhabit this hot cottage. Possibly thieves, smugglers.
There's nothing wrong with a thief. Why don't I sneak up to the house and have a little look-see inside?
Good plan.
Good man.
Okay, so make a stealth check.